I always believed camping would be the perfect way to reconnect with my family. Life in the city had made everything mechanical: wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. My wife, Claire, often complained that I was becoming a stranger to her and to our son, Ethan. When her friends suggested a weekend camping trip in the forest, I agreed immediately. Maybe the sound of crackling firewood and fresh mountain air would heal the cracks forming in our marriage. We arrived at the campsite late Friday afternoon. Claire's friends were already there: Rachel, her childhood best friend; Matt, her colleague; and Jessica, a neighbor who had become strangely close to my wife in the last year. Ethan was excited, running around with his small backpack, pointing at trees, streams, and rocks like he had just discovered a new planet. I smiled watching him. For all my faults, Ethan still looked at me like I was his hero. We set up our tents near the riverbank. Claire was laughing with her friends, barely noticing me struggling with the stakes. It didn't bother me at first; she deserved some happiness. But a nagging thought poked at me: why did she laugh so much harder at Matt's jokes than at mine? That night, as we sat around the campfire, roasting marshmallows, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. The stars above, the faint smell of pine, Ethan curled up beside me. It almost felt perfect. Almost. Because every now and then, I would catch Claire whispering with Rachel or exchanging quick glances with Matt. Something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. The next morning, after breakfast, Ethan tugged at my sleeve. "Dad, can we go for a walk? Just you and me?" His big brown eyes were filled with so much hope that I couldn't refuse. I told Claire we'd be back soon, but she barely nodded, too busy discussing something with Jessica. I noticed how quickly she dismissed me, like I was just background noise. Ethan and I walked down a narrow trail that led deeper into the forest. The air was crisp, and the sunlight filtered through the leaves like golden glass. Ethan was full of questions. Why were trees so tall? Why did birds fly in groups? Why did rivers never end? I answered as best as I could, though half the time I was just making things up. Still, he laughed and seemed happy, and that was enough for me. After about 30 minutes, Ethan stopped suddenly. "Dad, do you hear that?" I froze. It was faint, but I could hear voices, distant, hushed, urgent. At first, I thought it was other campers. But then, as we moved closer, I recognized the voices. Claire's. Matt's. I pulled Ethan behind a thick tree and told him to stay quiet. My heart hammered in my chest as I peeked through the branches. Just a few feet ahead, in a small clearing, Claire stood with Matt. Their heads were close together. Too close. "I can't keep this secret forever," Claire whispered, her voice trembling. "You have to," Matt replied firmly. "If he finds out, everything will fall apart. We've come too far." My stomach dropped. I couldn't breathe. What secret? What were they hiding from me? Ethan tugged at my sleeve again, confused. I placed a finger to my lips, signaling him to stay silent. Claire continued, her voice breaking. "But he's starting to notice. I can see it in his eyes. I can't lie to him much longer." Matt grabbed her hands. "Then you let me handle it. Do you trust me?" She nodded. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I felt like the ground beneath me had given way. My wife, crying in another man's arms, speaking of secrets, of trust. My mind raced. Was she having an affair? Had this camping trip been a setup? Ethan whispered, "Dad, what's happening?" I couldn't answer him. Suddenly, Claire turned as if she sensed someone watching. I ducked back behind the tree, pulling Ethan with me. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure they'd hear it. When I dared to peek again, they were gone. The walk back to camp felt like an eternity. Ethan kept asking questions, but I brushed them off, my mind in chaos. Every smile Claire had given me, Every late night at work she had explained away, every unexplained message on her phone, it all came crashing together like pieces of a puzzle I never wanted to solve. When we returned, Claire greeted us with forced cheer. "There you are." We were starting to worry. Her eyes darted nervously toward Matt, who avoided my gaze. I wanted to confront her right then, to demand answers, but Ethan was there. I couldn't risk shattering his world in an instant. That night, I lay awake in the tent, staring at the fabric above me. Claire slept beside me, or at least pretended to. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her in Matt's arms. I heard her whisper, "I can't keep this secret forever." The next day, Ethan wanted to go fishing. I agreed, desperate for some normalcy. But as we were preparing our rods by the river, Rachel approached me. She looked nervous, her eyes shifting around as if making sure no one else could hear. "Listen, I need to tell you something. But you have to promise me you won't tell Claire I said this." My blood ran cold. "What is it?" She hesitated, then leaned closer. "Claire, she hasn't been honest with you. None of us have. And you deserve to know the truth before it's too late." Before I could respond, Jessica's voice called out, "Rachel. Can you help me with the firewood?" Rachel jumped, gave me a panicked look, and hurried away. Too late for what? That evening, everything came to a head. As we sat around the campfire, Ethan asleep beside me, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. I turned to Claire. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice low but steady. Her eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "You know exactly what I mean. I saw you yesterday. With Matt. I heard what you said." The silence that followed was suffocating. Jessica stared into the fire. Rachel bit her lip. Matt shifted uncomfortably. Finally, Claire whispered, "I didn't want you to find out like this." My chest tightened. "Find out what?" She looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. "Ethan isn't your son." The world stopped. I felt like I had been struck by lightning. The crackling fire, the cool night air, the stars, all of it vanished in a blur. My son. My boy. The child I had raised, loved, protected, she was telling me he wasn't mine? Matt lowered his head. Claire's voice trembled as she continued, "It happened years ago. Just once. I never meant for it to. I thought I could bury it, that it would never come out. But the more I saw you with him, the guilt." I stood up, fists clenched, rage boiling inside me. "You let me raise him for 10 years. 10 years, Claire. And you," my voice cracked. "You lied every single day." Ethan stirred in his sleep, mumbling something before turning over. My anger dissolved into something worse, grief. Because no matter what Claire had just revealed, Ethan was still my son. In every way that mattered. But Claire's betrayal had shattered me beyond repair. That night, I couldn't sleep. I packed my things quietly, tears streaming down my face. Before dawn, I lifted Ethan gently, carrying him to the car. I didn't care about the others. I didn't care if Claire begged or explained. We drove away from that campsite, the firelight fading in the rearview mirror. Ethan rubbed his eyes and asked, "Dad, where are we going?" I forced a smile. "Home, buddy. We're going home." He leaned his head on my shoulder, trusting me completely. And in that moment, I realized something: biology didn't matter. Secrets didn't matter. Betrayals didn't matter. Ethan was mine. He would always be mine. But Claire? She was already gone.